Hello everybody, my name is Benjamin Bloom. I have just witnessed Burton 0, Ipswich Town 1. Ipswich start off their first campaign in the third tier for over 60 years with a victory. It was an early-ish goal by Luke Garbutt with a rather helpful deflection, a red card for Stephen Quinn in the second half, and Ipswich see out the game, keep the clean sheet, but a couple of hairy moments sees them survive as Paul Lambert attempts to bring back a winning mentality, not just to this team, but to the entire club. And I guess this is the right way to start. 100% record at Burton as well. Third game here, third victory, and the Brewers line up. O'Hara in goal. He's in from Manchester United. Brayford, we've seen him a million times, haven't we? Right back. O'Toole, Buxton centre halves. Daniel is the left back. And not quite a diamond midfield, not quite a 4-3-3. Quinn sat in front with Edwards to his right, Wallace to his left. Fraser is nominally behind the front too, but would pull over to the left-hand side a lot, which kind of made a front three if Akins moved off to one side and Boyce in the middle. But I think the defensive shape left only two up front and the attacking shape three up front. That seemed to be the idea. Ipswich, well, meat and taters, 4-4-2 here. It had been a big debate. If you listen to the Blue Monday podcast, you'll know I'm more pro the 4-2-3-1 and trying to keep the possession and the building of the pattern of play. A lot of people want to see two strikers on, wide players on, and they got their wish today. Holy in goal, Danassian, Wolfenden, Wilson and Kenlock, the back four. We expect that to morph into Chambers and Nsiala as and when they're available. Danny Rowe on the right wing, Downs and Skews in centre midfield, Luke Garbutt down the left wing with James Norwood and Caden Jackson, the orthodox front two. Ipswich start the better. This 4-4-2 is not a passing progressive thing. It's a intense, push the team forward, try and get quick players in behind, try and get wide players one-on-one and try and counter-attack. That was how they played the 4-4-2 today. Two forwards busy themselves early, Jackson and Norwood. Danassian a little shaky under the press from the Burton forwards, and Burton clearly trying to get amongst the new back four for Ipswich. But no sooner do they do that, no sooner do they press, and Ipswich take the lead. It's the 11th minute. Wilson actually starts with James Wilson, the the kind of freebie centre half stopgap. Steps out of defence and sends it to the right. It ends up with Rowe into Downs. Nice feet by him. Garbutt is tucked inside. It goes across to Luke Garbutt. I guess he's just outside the box. He hits it early with his left foot. And we were bemoaning bad luck all last season. It's going to O'Hara's left. Huge deflection. Spins completely the other direction. And into the net to O'Hara's right. So Ipswich take the lead on the basis of a quick counter-attack. Players willing to carry the ball and willing to take a shot in Luke Garbutt's case. But one must confess to a large slice of good luck from the deflection, presumably off one of the Burton centre halves. So, perfect start for Ipswich. Didn't really creak under the early Burton press and take the lead with basically their first chance. 19, Burton get their first kind of moment on goal here. Daniel down the left, low cross by him. Edwards is arriving from midfield, but it's a pullback by Boyce on Kenlock that allows him to do so, and that is whistled away. 22, and it's the start of a pretty iffy, I don't want to say iffy period for Miles Kenlock, where he was targeted by the Burton players and gave away a kind of string of fouls and free kicks in not nice positions where free kicks can be put straight into the box. This is the first. He gives away the free kick. It goes in from Edwards. Good catch by Holly and a big throw out to Norwood. Great burst inside from the new forward from left to right. He feeds it into the right wing for Danny Rowe. He gets it out of his feet, immediately tries that curling left footer. O'Hara makes the save. Good work from Holy, but you can see how Ipswich are working this. They want Rowe one-on-one. They want Norwood isolated, and they want to hit him early. 26, Norwood robs Quinn here, steals it in the 10 position, and a bit of a key moment this, because this yellow card is going to mean something. Quinn takes him down and takes the yellow card. Nice rehearsed free kick. Downs kind of rolls it to Garbutt, who's just kind of standing minding his own business. He loops it to the far post. It goes to Kenlock, who wins the header. Burton trying to reconfigure. O'Hara tips around the post. I believe an offside flag may have gone up, but just store that. James Norwood just pressing, gets Quinn booked, which is ultimately going to give Ipswich the edge at the end of the game when Quinn gets himself a second yellow card. 27 slipped into Edwards, edge of the box here, hits it right-footed, deflects wide here. Nothing doing from the corner for Burton. Big goal kick here. Boyce off to Akins, who half volleys early. Left-footed, half chance. It's tamely wide. Norwood seems to get a last warning from the ref, but he gets a few last warnings today, I think. 33, Skews, nice switch of play in a 4-4-2. Again, if you're counter-attacking, you want that centre midfielder to play early balls to either side, and that seemed to be what Skews was instructed to do. Out to Rowe, who comes in off the left again, hits it early. Good hands from O'Hara, takes the sting out of it, tips it around the post. 35, Burton free kick, bit of afters here. There's a yellow for Edwards, bit of shoving, Kenlock involved in that Akins as well. 37, Norwood gets his last warning. I know he had his last warning 5 minutes ago, but Ipswich fans annoyed with the ref, but he did give Norwood, who was chipping away, a couple of last warnings before the inevitable yellow card in the second half. We're going to get 38. Kenlock gives away another free kick here, and he turns his back on it. It's played early for Brayford. He crosses down to Holly's near post. He doesn't know whether to stick or twist, ends up tipping it around the post. The corner goes in. Ipswich look very shaky. Second phase comes back in, and eventually they get the ball cleared and survive. 40, sliced out by Holy. Kenlock could, I'm not, it looks like I'm piling in on Kenlock here. I'm trying not to. I'm trying to tell it how it was. He's slicing it out. Kenlock kind of inexplicably heads it back in field when he could let it go out for the throw and everyone get back into position. Quinn then slides it behind for Boyce. Great defensive instincts from Wolford, and not for the first time today. Goes across, and he well, this has got own goal written all over it, because he manages to put it high and wide and get rid of it. A difficult one to deal with. Here, you can see Burton ending the second half stronger. Here, they've got control of the midfield. This is the issue with 4-4-2 against three midfielders. You can get strangled in there, especially in a League One game, which will take place 10 metres either side of halfway line more often than not. Second phase here from the corner. Skews with the right footer. Normal Skews controlled shot without necessarily too much vigour. Deflects wide. 45 plus one in stoppage time. Ipswich counter here. Rowe down the right hand side. He crosses all the way over. Touched inside by Garbutt. Norwood arriving, smacks the half volley, and that one is blocked. Half time. Interesting half. Ipswich have the lead. The goal was lucky. Ipswich started well, but really Burton, the more the half went on, kind of took control of the territory and the possession. Ipswich counter-attacking. Obviously, it's about taking chances and scoring goals. And Ipswich did look dangerous when they got Garbutt carrying the ball, Rowe carrying the ball, Jackson running in behind, Norwood one-on-one. In terms of possession and flow of the game, Burton were probably the better side. But I hear you all yelling at me. They're losing. But if this pattern carries on in the second half, you could see Burton forcing an equaliser. Let's see what happens. And Burton come out of the traps well. Bit more snap to their press. Their press was already good, but a little bit snappy, and it's a big chance here. Fraser, he's down the left. Holy is out. He flaps badly for this one. It falls to Akins. He's inside the box. He takes his time, shifts it to his left foot, tries to break the net and smashes it over the crossbar. Big chance there for Burton. Holy, generally impressive today. Flapped at that one. I think Ipswich fans need to accept, if they want a commanding goalkeeper, you've got to take the rough with the smooth here. He is going to miss a couple when he comes out, but in the main he did command his box in a very different way than we've seen Ipswich goalkeepers for the last few years. 52, Norwood and O'Toole tangling, and Norwood finally screaming in the linesman's face here. Says he got an elbow from O'Toole. He takes the yellow card that he'd had his last warning for twice in the first half. 53, Wallace early out wide to Boyce here. He steps inside Kenlock, drifts it wide. Burton well on top here. I was just writing down, here's the issue with the 4-4-2. Up comes Paul Lambert to the touchline. He's going to do something about it. He agrees with me. They've taken control of midfield, so he switches it. 4-2-3-1 now. Skews and Downs are going to sit as the double pivot. Jackson, not his best position, but he needs to sacrifice for the team here. He moves off to the right-hand side, Rowe into the 10 position, Garwood left. Norwood up front. That's a cross between Norwood and Garbutt, if you hadn't realised that kind of spoonerism there. And now much more chance for Ipswich to get a bit more compact, and this system is obviously waiting for Alan Judge, who is sat on the bench. Downs heavy on Boyce there. No malice, but mistimed that one. Yellow card for Flynn. Downs 61. Great play by Ipswich. Jackson said it wasn't his best position, but nice diagonal ball from that inside right position. Norwood's he's more skillful than he looks, actually. Touches it off to Garbutt. He threads it through back to Norwood, and this is meat and drink for James Norwood, but he kind of slides at it. I think he might have had a bit more time than he thought with the defender breathing down the neck to take charge of this situation, but he snatches at the chance and he puts it wide. Good build up, good work there. Norwood running in last man. He likes a 10 behind him. I'm really banging my colours to the mast for this 4-2-3-1, aren't I? 61, Judge comes in for Jackson, which means Rowe goes out to the right. Judge sits in the 10 position with Garbutt to his left. James Norwood up front. Jackson caused some problems running in behind, but Norwood wholly more effective. Today, Nigel Clough is going to respond to this. More 4-3-3 now because he brings Broadhead in for Wallace. Fraser drops back into that midfield position, and Broadhead is just going to hold a left-sided forward position with Akins moving off to the right. So he responds quickly. You're going to get that with some wily managers in this division. 69, great play between Rowe and Judge here. Inside from the right, and Garbutt shoots, deflects wide this time. 74 minutes, Burton pressing down the left, Fraser into the box. Holy tips the cross over the corner, comes in. It's a big counter from Ipswich. Garbutt is away down the left. Norwood needs this one slid in behind him to run onto. He does not get the service he wants. In fact, Garbutt puts the cross up on the roof. There you go. 77, Garbutt surges forward again. Quinn slides in from the side. Remember that Norwood press and Quinn taking him down in the first half. Well, here comes the red card for Stephen Quinn. Didn't necessarily catch Garbutt too badly, but he slides in from the side on a yellow card. Silly Billy, second yellow. Red card, off goes Quinn, which means Ipswich have a much, much easier task to play out this game. Hughes comes in for James Wilson, who looked injured, so there's still maybe centre-half problems next week. Luke Chambers is back next week, but he may be... I mean, it could be that he was going to be parted by Wolfenden anyway, but Wilson will have a look and see what the status is there. Cole Skews is going to finish the game centre-half. So you've got Donassian, Skews, Wolfenden, Kenlock now is the back four. Emma Hughes going to sit with Flynn Downs in central midfield. 80, Judge, free kick. He shoots it over the wall, easy save for O'Hara. Not enough pace on that. Sarkic comes in for Akins. Some credit for Nigel Clough here. He's down to 10 men. Still tries to keep a front three-ish. Doesn't fold into that 4-4-1 system that we see a lot of people play with 10 men, which ultimately is kind of conceding because you've got no threat up front. 85, Ipswich looks so confused. They're not only they're defending a lead against 10 men. They're playing keep ball, and it's nearly a horror moment for Thomas Holy in goal. Everyone's putting their foot on the ball and taking their time. Holy tries to do the same. He's on the edge of his box. Boyce comes charging in. Holy takes way too long. He kicks the clearance. Boyce charges it down. It's going towards the goal, and it drifts just wide of the post. Oh my goodness. Paul Lambert looks to Holy and does this. Matt Gill, I'm afraid, kicks a water bottle off and gets sent off by the referee from the technical area. Thomas Holy gets away with one. Anyone who believes in luck, even in itself, out will say last season that one spins into the goal and our deflected goal doesn't go in. I don't know quite whether karma exists or works like that, or destiny, but Ipswich, a couple of little bits of luck today go in their favour. Maybe we deserve it after last season. Who knows? Judging on Daniel here, a little bit late, yellow card for him. Daniel actually goes off injured. Hutchinson comes in for the left back. 6 minutes of stoppage time. Doesn't seem too unreasonable given all the subs and a couple of stoppages, a red card. Also 91 minutes, yellow for Fraser on Rowe, who's just about to go off and sits on his backside and says he's injured now, which is good play. El Mizuni comes in for Rowe, straight swap. He's going to sit down the right. I like that substitution because El Mizuni, the ball will stick to him, he can hold on to it, and that's all you need to do to see this game out. Just keep the damn ball. 94, it's a chance though. Burton get forward, force a corner, swung in from the right hand side. I think it was O'Toole maybe up from the back, wins the header, and Wolfenden, again good defensive instincts, heads it away and off the line. For the second time I'm saying that about Luke Wolfenden. Ipswich can counter though from the next corner. They could wrap it up here. El Mizuni, lovely feet in the box. The Zidane kind of pirouette, knocks it off to Hughes. Bit too much time. He could feed this to Judge, but he sees the headlines, hits it left-footed, drags it wide. That is all she wrote, and Ipswich get off to a win. They score when they're on top at the beginning with the 4-4-2, with the counters working and with the wide players getting one-on-one and the forwards trying to hustle the defence. As I say, a high-intensity 4-4-2 rather than a footballing 4-4-2. Danassian grows into the game. Both fullbacks struggle a little bit in the first half. Danassian improves in the second half. I think Kenlock does too, just a few silly fouls there. Holy in the main is decent, and I think Ipswich just control things a bit better when it goes to a 4-2-3-1, and obviously you're going to keep the ball better with Alan Judge on the pitch than not. So interesting conundrum now for Paul Lambert, because looks like 4-2-3-1 lends itself to possession, pattern of play, building things up, keeping the ball, which, if you do it right, will allow you to dominate games, and, you know, not many teams will be able to stick with that. If you do it right, I say. The 4-4-2 is going to be solid. It allows you to get two forwards up against League One centre-halves, one with pace, and Norwood's obviously very wily. Not entirely sure passing wise whether it's going to be that entertaining. I think squeeze up the pitch, but I think Ipswich might need to use this, and they may, in games where they think they can just dominate possession anyway, want to do this. Very interesting to see going forward what Paul Lambert does. I think I can see Caden Jackson becoming an impact sub for his pace, and Alan Judge becoming a starter and playing in that 10 position. Your basic decision here is it Jackson and Norwood, the partnership, in which case you're playing two up front and probably a 4-4-2? Or is it Judge and Norwood, a 10 and a 9, in which case you're probably playing a 4-2-3-1? We shall see. Let's just go through these Ipswich names. As I say, Holy commands his box. His kicking is longer and probably more accurate than Bialkowski's. A couple went out of play, but looked fairly safe. Just those two moments. One flappy, could have let Akins in for the goal. Poor finishing from Akins, and he got away with one when Ipswich were playing keep your foot on the ball. Danassian grew into the game. I'd like to see him grow into the season. Wolfenden's got to have a thumbs up from me. He's a young guy. He's playing with a centre-half who's kind of been brought in as a stopgap. Should be easy with Luke Chambers next week, frankly. And those two instances where you needed him to have good defensive instincts, cutting out crosses and one off the line, he did. So thumbs up for Wolfenden. It was a thumbs up to Wilson until he got injured. Quite wily, won a couple of free kicks, cleverly using his experience, but didn't finish the game. So who knows whether we'll see him again next week. Kenlock, there's a player there, but we've been saying that for 2 years now. A few silly fouls, and I think Burton targeted him. But again, I'd like to see him grow into the season and play 30, 40 games and prove me wrong that he can cope with that kind of attention. Skews were skews, fine, decent, solid performance. In the 4-4-2, he was the one player who could switch the play quickly and get wide players 1-on-1. Downs is going to be... Don't think he's going to find this division too difficult. Physically, very good player. Got a yellow card, kept control. Thumbs up as usual for Flynn Downs. Danny Rowe, a lot of people are going to like to see him. Don't know whether he's just an orthodox right winger. I think I prefer him maybe as an inverted winger joining in a 4-2-3-1. But he makes things happen, and he made things happen for the goal. A lot of people would like to see him get a run in the team. So thumbs up for Danny Rowe. Thumbs up for Luke Garbett. Don't see him going anywhere. He's got a goal. Neat and tidy. Doesn't quite have Rowe's explosive qualities, but... I think this division, he should be fine, really. Norwood, excellent, absolute nuisance. Maybe needs to calm down his chitter-chatter, but as you always say with these players, you take that edge. And he's more skillful than I thought he was as well. He's not just running around, putting himself about. A couple of lovely touches as well. Caden Jackson, going to be an interesting one here, because he is going to be the victim if they switch system. Is Caden Jackson going to be a starter or a auxiliary substitute? Who... No, it's been interesting people's thoughts in the comments. Good performance, Ipswich get the win. We cannot complain really about anything after last season and, you know, just week after week after week after week of losing. Let's hope, though, that a winning mentality can come back into the team and into the club. Really interested in your thoughts down in the comments. It's really now all about how is this team going to end up. Looks like there's two possible systems. Looks like a few players have played themselves in today. We'd like to see continuity. We'd like to see it settled. Haven't mentioned Emir Hughes. He came in off the bench. Haven't mentioned El Mazouni. And there's a whole slew of injured players. Bishop, Edwards. Dazell's not here either. We hope we're not fearing the worst there and he's going to be sold very quickly. But a lot still to happen, I have to say. Remember, Premier League transfer window on Thursday. Let me know what you think in the comments about what I've said, about the systems, about the players. Follow me on Twitter at Benjamin Bloom. Hit subscribe. I will be trying my best. Please don't shoot me down, Ipswich fans. Obviously, I've built up a big championship following to flip between championship games and Ipswich games. I will be at as many Ipswich games as I possibly can. I promise. Hit that subscribe button, though. And you can now support me on Patreon if you enjoy what I do. I do this for free. I spend loads on tickets and loads on travel. I'm trying to make money out of the YouTube ad revenue. And at the point I do, I'll get rid of my Patreon. But in the meantime, if you like what I do and you want to, basically the cost of buying me a pint just helps towards tickets or whatever, then I would be oh so grateful. But you're not obliged to do so, and this will always be free. On YouTube, thank you very much for watching. Couple of lucky breaks for Ipswich, but they're off to a winning start. Long may it continue. Burton 0, Ipswich 1. Over and out.